Thank you, Cody, for that very warm introduction. It's really a pleasure to be here with you today. I'd like to share with you a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, giving and receiving. However, before we begin, I would like each of you to turn to the person next to you and decide between the two of you who is going to be A and who is going to be B. Now, A's, I would like you to extend your hand to B's, and B's, I want you to refuse to accept it, no matter what. Do not accept A's handshake. How did that feel? How did it feel to have someone extend their hand to you and not receive that handshake?
Guilty.
Yeah. I had that same feeling. I had the exact same feeling. I felt that the connection was not there, that it was incomplete. And you know, growing up, we didn't start out that way. As children, you know, we are just wonders of delight and joy. And as parents, it gives us great joy in giving to our children and seeing the delight on their faces when they receive that special gift. I have a really treasured, precious story of my son Andrew when he was 4 years old, and he's lost his tooth. And he came to me and he said, "Mom, I've lost my tooth, and I'm going to put it under the pillow, and the tooth fairy will come." And all of us, we can probably remember, you know, 25 years ago, you know, when we put that quarter under the pillow, what that was like. It's up a little bit now. It's a dollar or two, but Andrew put his tooth under the pillow and anxiously waiting for the tooth fairy to come. Well, the next morning he gets up and he looks under his pillow and the tooth is still there. And he comes running into the room and he said, "Mom, the tooth fairy didn't come. My tooth is still here." And this disappointment on his face, and I looked at him and I thought, oh my God, I forgot. I forgot to get the tooth. And I'm looking at him and I said, "Andrew, I am so sorry." I said, "I'm the tooth fairy and I forgot to put the money under your pillow." And he looked at me with this utter amazement in his face, and his eyes went as big as everything. And he said, "The tooth fairy? You're the tooth fairy for the world?" and I'm looking at him, and in that moment I thought, you know, you never know, just the tiniest little gifts, the most little things, you know, how that can make a difference, how that can impact someone in their life in a way that you never even dreamed possible. That little tooth fairy gift meant everything to Andrew. What I've realized is I've always had a great difficulty in receiving. And no matter, as a single mom, I was always determined to do everything myself. I was fiercely independent. No one could ever help me. And even to this day, when someone asks to assist me in some way, my first reaction is to say, no, I can take care of this, you know, myself. Thanks for offering. And then I have to stop for a moment and take a breath and sit back and accept and receive. I learned this from a story which was in Open Hands. A friend by the name of Ann Hamilton, she was actually my neighbor, that lived behind me. I lived in an area called Garden Oaks outside the Houston Heights. And Ann was also a very fiercely independent single woman. And she had a home that she always dreamed of having a lovely landscape in front of it and a natural bedding around it that would attract birds and flowers. And her next door neighbor was a landscape architect. And she would share this dream with him, and they would talk about how one day maybe their yards would meld together. And she thought about that. Well, one day Ann received a call from her doctor with the dreaded news that all of us women dread, is that she had breast cancer. And she knew at that moment her life was going to significantly change. She was going to have to leave her house. She was going to have to go through surgery and her cancer treatment, her chemo. And so it was a period of time before she was able to go back to her home. When that time came that she was able to do that, her sister drove her back, and when they pulled into the driveway, they stopped. And what she saw was that in this period of time, her neighbor had gone to her home and had completely landscaped her yard in all that she had dreamed it would be. And the tears flowed, and just her thought was, this caring, loving friend, you know, did this very special gift because he loved and cared for me. And so I always remember Anne, and Anne had shared with me how, you know, at that moment, what she learned was to accept the kindnesses of others and to, you know, never be shy in asking someone for assistance, and to kind of let go of that little bit of independence that she'd always kind of held, and to give other people the opportunities to give to her and to share the gifts that they have with others. Now, Anne's story is a big example, a very generous giving. What I also realized was that we don't have to wait for someone to bestow a gift on us or for a gift to be given. It really is the little receiving and giving moments that come into our life every day. And there's another story that I'd like to share with you. And this was actually started with a professor from my graduate school. And he wanted to give us kind of a fun, lighthearted project. And what he said to us, he said, "I'd like you to go out and do a random act of kindness." And I thought, well, this is a great relief compared to the mind-boggling research papers he would normally have us do. And so I gave a great deal of thought to what this random act of kindness would be. And one day when I was coming home from work, I passed a Metro bus station, and I parked my car and got on the bus, and I said to the bus driver, I had given him $20, and I said, "I'd like to pay the fare for the people that come on this bus." And he just kind of looked at me and just such surprise, and I don't want them to know. And so I sat down, and as the people came on the bus, I just kind of watched the reaction as the bus driver would say, "Your fare has been paid." And they would just come back and just wonder on, you know, what was that about? And then there was a family of a little girl and a little baby that, with their mom and dad, that came on the bus, and they sat down next to me. And we're sitting, and all of a sudden the little girl turns to me and said, "I can sing my ABCs." And I said, "You can?" I said, "I would love to hear that." And she started singing A, B, C, D, and she went on with her alphabet. And as she sang, and she got louder, everyone on the bus became softer and started listening. And by the time she got to the very end of her alphabet, the bus was silent. And everybody started to cheer. Everybody started clapping. I cannot tell you the amazing experience of being on that bus, of this gift of this little girl giving us her voice, her excitement, and all of us there being in that moment to receive that incredible, incredible joy at that moment. So giving and receiving can also come in those little precious moments that come to us every day. Every day we're connecting with people. It's on the elevator. It's a smile. We even, as we're walking in a park, we're connecting with the world around us. Giving and receiving are everyday precious moments, but we need to slow down and take a moment to see them and accept them. I have one other story I'd like to share with you that just over the years has just kind of gradually been showing this message of the significance of giving and receiving. And this is another fairy story, but it's not the tooth fairy story. This is a birthday tradition story that actually started when my now 31-year-old was 1 year old. And when she was turning 1, I thought, how can I possibly let this little baby know how special she is, that this is her special day? How can I let her recognize that? I thought, well, babies, recognize colors and big things, and I thought, I'm going to go in there the night before, and I'm going to decorate her room with balloons and streamers and everything fun and colorful that I can make in this room. And then when she wakes up, she'll know this is something different. This is a different day. And so, I know in many ways that was more for me than her, but I just wanted to do that. Well, this actually became a very special birthday tradition in our home. And as my son arrived and my daughter, Andrew and Leslie, and through the years, the birthday fairy would always arrive on that special day before their birthday. And it became a very, very special event in our house. And as they grew older, the decorations became a little less elaborate. And when they went off to college, somehow the birthday fairy would have birthday balloons delivered to the door. But as the years went on, it finally came full circle to a moment that really took my breath away. When one day it was my birthday, and I had come home from work, and I opened up my door, and my children were the birthday fairies and had completely decorated my room. The moment that I saw before my eyes, I couldn't believe. I couldn't believe. The tears kept coming. I think it looked like they had saved every 30 years of birthday decoration because it was, it was all over everywhere. But it was such a significant moment. And it was when I saw that the circle of giving can only be complete when you have both a gracious giving and a gracious receiving. So if we can always remember to be open to those simple little gift moments that may impact a life in ways we never know. Be open to giving and receiving in those precious ways every day in our life, to maybe let go of our little bit of independence. And just sit back and receive. There are grace moments like this every day in our life. Now, what I would like you to do is I would like you to turn back to that person next to you. And A's, extend your hand. And B's, this time receive it. How does that feel? The circle of giving is indeed complete.